It is Thursday, February 19th, and this is period 4. We are engaging in a debate about the legality of e-cigarettes. We have one side arguing that it should be legal to sell e-cigarettes in the United States of America, and one team arguing that it should be illegal to sell e-cigarettes in the United States of America. We're beginning with our opening statements. Which side would like to begin? Affirmative or negative?
Negative.
Okay, negative will start. It should be illegal to sell e-cigarettes in the United States of America. Tell us your opening statement, please. Go ahead and get started.
E-cigarettes were initially developed as an alternative to smoking, but now they have become more an addictive drug for teens and young adults. Although they may seem harmless and something for a moment of fun, the cons outweigh the pros.
A lot of people who use e-cigarettes have experienced much decrease in their health because of the effects of nicotine, and a lot of breathing issues in their work have started e-cigarettes because it could lead to lung inflammation and various lung conditions. Therefore, e-cigarettes should be legal in the U.S. due to toxic chemicals found in them with drug harmful.
Okay.
This debate is not whether e-cigarettes are completely safe. It is about whether making them illegal would actually protect public health or make the problem worse. Prohibition does not erase demand, it erases regulation, oversight, and safer alternatives. Millions of adults already use nicotine, and public health policies we should address reality, not ignore it.
E-cigarettes exist because traditional cigarettes remain one of the leading causes of preventable death. By eliminating consumption, e-cigarettes reduce exposure to many of the toxic chemicals that make smoking so deadly. Public health authorities like the Centers for Disease Control or Prevention recognize that while not risk-free, e-cigarettes expose users to fewer harmful substances than traditional cigarettes. Removing them from the legal market would not eliminate nicotine use. It would push people back towards more dangerous products or into unregulated black markets.
Furthermore, legality allows regulation. Agencies such as the Food and Drug Administration can enforce age restrictions, monitor ingredients, and protect consumers. If e-cigarettes are banned, that control disappears and public safety is weakened, not strengthened.
At its core, this debate is about outcomes. Do we choose a policy that reduces harm, preserves regulation, and protects public health in practice, or one that sounds strict in theory but fails in reality? The evidence is clear. Prohibition would increase harm, not prevent it. Therefore, e-cigarettes must remain legal under proper regulation.
Is that all for your 2 opening statements? Round of applause for our opening statements, please. Moving into constructive arguments and evidence. Constructive arguments and evidence. 2 to 4 people from each team, please go on up. Have a seat at your table.
Big Booker, big. Oh, okay, period.
I'm not going to get started.
Bro, no, Malaysia, go back up there.
Malaysia, you got this.
Malaysia.
You got this. Malaysia, I nominate you. You can do it.
You got the titillation. It's only y'all 2?
Yes. Anybody
Ooh.
else? 2 more people want to join? 2 more people want to join? No, but you're on the other team. 2 more people from this team.
I don't want to.
To support your own teammate.
Actually, you got that.
Yeah.
Anybody can go against now.
Okay, there you go. 3v3. Okay. Let's start with everybody else quiet down besides the people who are speaking. Are we ready? Constructive arguments and evidence. Are we ready?
No.
Not yet? Okay, we have Sai joining. You want one more person to join? Okay.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Oh, shut up.
Okay. Ready? We're going to begin. Everybody else, voice level 0. I'll wait until it's quiet. Okay, we're beginning with the affirmative. It should be legal to sell e-cigarettes in the United States of America. What is your evidence or your arguments to defend legality of e-cigarettes? You may begin.
Benefits of medical marijuana. It controls vomiting in people undergoing cancer and chemotherapy. Drugs based on 2 lab-made forms of THC are FDA approved for this purpose. modestly reduces pain in people with conditions such as nerve damage, cancer, multiple sclerosis, and I don't even know, rheumatoid arthritis. And it improves in cardiovascular markers. Studies have shown that switching from smoking to vaping can lead to a reduction in resting heart rates in heavy smokers and rapid improvement of the vascular function. The risk of a heart attack can drop half that of a continuing smoking within a year of quitting combustible cigarettes.
Thank you.
Economic benefits. Increased tax revenue. States with legal cannabis markets generate significant tax revenues that can be allocated to public services such as education, housing programs, and addiction services, job creation, and economic growth. The legal cannabis industry creates jobs across various sectors, including cultivation, processing, distribution, retail, and supporting industries like accounting and software development.
Fewer arrests and convictions to legalization. Marijuana-related arrests and convictions preventing individuals from facing the collateral consequences, barriers to housing, employment, and education that a criminal record entails. It also addresses racial disparities, such as the enforcement of marijuana laws has historically shown significant racial bias. Legalization helps address these disparities by removing one of the primary mechanisms used for an unequal policing of communities of color. It cripples the illicit market. A regulated legal market subverts the illicit market and the associated violence and organized crime, including drug cartels. Public health and safety. Product safety and regulation. Legalization enables government regulation, including mandatory product testing for purity and potency, proper labeling, and child-resistant packaging, ensuring a safer product for consumers in the illicit market. Medical access provides patients with safe, legal, and reliable access to medical cannabis, which has shown promise in managing chronic pain, reducing nausea from chemotherapy, and treating certain seizure disorders and multiple sclerosis symptoms. Potential reduction in opioid use. Some studies suggest a correlation between the legalization of medical marijuana and a decrease in opioid prescriptions and overdose deaths, as patients may use cannabis as a safer alternative to pain management. It's a safer alternative to alcohol. Cannabis is generally considered less toxic and less likely to cause addiction and severe health problems compared to alcohol, with 0 confirmed overdose deaths in history. Individual liberty and research. A nation that values liberty and the pursuit of happiness should not punish adults for choosing to consume a substance safer than alcohol. It also encourages research. Prohibition has historically hindered scientific research into the benefits and risks of cannabis. Legalization removes these barriers, allowing for proper, rigorous study of its compounds and medical applications.
Mine's more on the rebuttal side.
E-cigarettes contain nicotine, which can be highly addictive and harmful, especially for teenagers. This addiction can lead to problems with mental development, concentration, and mental health. Many young people who start vaping end up becoming dependent on nicotine at an early age.
E-cigarettes contain harmful chemicals that can damage the lungs. Studies have shown that vaping can cause lung inflammation, breathing problems, and health risks. Even though they are marketed as safer than traditional cigarettes, they still pose serious dangers. Some common substances found in the liquid of e-cigarettes which pose a risk to the lungs are diacetyl, which deepens the e-cigarette flavor and is known for damaging small passageway in the lungs. Formaldehyde, a toxic chemical that can cause lung disease and contribute to heart diseases. And acetylene, I think I'm gonna say it, which is often used as a weed killer, which will also damage the lungs.
The flavors and marketing of e-cigarettes are designed to attract young people. Sweet and fruity flavors make them more appealing to minors. Increasing the number of teenagers who start using nicotine products make e-cigarettes illegal would help protect young people's health.
Anything else to add? Or are you done with your constructive arguments? Are both teams done?
Yeah.
Round of applause for constructive arguments.
Nothing.
Have a seat. Okay, next we have rebuttals. Rebuttals from both teams going up.
Yeah, well, you on camera.
Rebuttals from both teams. Rebuttals. Two more people? Or no? Oh, only two for your team? Or you have three? Oh, Joseph is
Y'all signing
joining.
for everything or what? Like, come on now. And.
You want one more person to
You have to like Levi going up there the third time. Like,
No,
hello?
not Levi for everything.
But he not saying nothing.
He literally is though.
Why are you here? What?
I'm reading Chris.
Andy.
This meeting just not concluded.
You can do one rebuttal though for your team. Going up. Make it even. Have one more person.
Who's going in here?
She hasn't spoken on it.
Jordan. Jordan, would you like to do a rebuttal for your team so that it's even 4 and 4?
And he's going.
Andy's going? Okay. Okay, let's begin with affirmative for rebuttals. Go ahead and get started.
Am I saying something?
Okay, rebuttals. Are we ready? Do you need a second? Okay.
You want to?
Just tell me when to talk.
You can do the sharing and rest.
Huh?
Right in front of me.
Who will get pressed? By who? Huh?
Like, you want to do the second part? Or do that plain, but-
I believe in you, Joseph.
Okay. What you say, Elias?
I believe you, Ebu.
Oh, okay.
Ready? Begin.
Alright, so, opponent argues that e-cigarettes should be illegal to protect public health, and also to improve, you aim to, or argue that e-cigarettes should be legal, in order to protect public health. However, prohibition is not fully known in part, but it amplifies it. The core question of the debate is not whether e-cigarettes are clearly safe, but whether or not prohibiting them and banning them produces a better public health outcome rather than regulating them. The evidence shows that that is not the case.
First, banning e-cigarettes removes one of the most effective harm reduction tools available to adult smokers. Traditional cigarettes kill millions globally because combustion releases tar and thousands of toxic chemicals. E-cigarettes, while not harmless, eliminate combustion and significantly reduce exposure to these deadly substances. For smokers who cannot quit nicotine immediately, e-cigarettes represent a step away from the most dangerous form of consumption. If they are banned, many users will not suddenly quit nicotine. They will return to traditional cigarettes, which are far more lethal. Prohibition would therefore increase, not decrease, preventable harm. Secondly, prohibition historically fails to eliminate demand and instead creates unregulated black markets. When legal access disappears, illegal distribution replaces it. These underground products are more dangerous because they lack safety oversight, ingredient controls, and quality standards. Regulation allows authorities such as the Food and Drug Administration to monitor manufacturing, enforce safety requirements, and restrict their youth access. Banning e-cigarettes would remove these protections entirely, exposing users to greater risk.
Third, prohibition undermines personal autonomy without addressing the root issue. Adults are already legally permitted to use more harmful substances, including combustibles and tobacco. Singling out e-cigarettes for prohibition, despite their reduced harm potential, is inconsistent and counterproductive. Public health policy should focus on minimizing harm, not enforcing realistic standards of zero risk. Education, age restrictions, and regulation are proven strategies. Blanket bans are not.
Finally, my opponent's argument assumes that eliminating legal access eliminates use. This assumption is fundamentally flawed. Demand for nicotine does not disappear simply because legality changes. The real-world consequence of prohibition is substitution. Uses shift to more harmful or unregulated alternatives. In other words, banning e-cigarettes does not solve the problem. It removes the safer option and leaves the more dangerous one behind. Prohibition sacrifices harm reduction, empowers black markets, removes regulatory oversight, and ultimately worsens public health outcomes. The rational solution is not prohibition, but regulation, because effective public health policy reduces harm in reality, not just in theory. We're done.
My opponents are, sorry.
Go ahead and get started.
My opponents argue that e-cigarettes can be seen as better for the environment than regular cigarettes because they lead to less waste and less trash for the environment, as well as less pollution and greenhouse gases than cigarettes. However, these positives are falsely made, as over half of young people don't even know what to do with e-cigarettes after they go empty. This leads to over 840 million vaping devices being trashed, cited by Recycle Nation, and some of which are just being discarded on the sidewalk or just in any general area that they can be found in. And for the gases produced, the National Institute of Health states that the greater interest of e-cigarettes has led to more production of the devices. This production not only leads to more pollution due to factories making them, but the extra e-cigarettes leads to more e-cigarettes, obviously, producing more of the gases that they emit, and polluting our environment and oxygen intake much more than it already has been.
Alright, so first off, some people say that legalization will increase teen use, or like illegalizing e-cigarettes. Some people they say that leads to black market and all that. But at the end of the day, if regulations are put in place and they are properly enforced, it will also cut the risk of having black markets and all that. And secondly, you say that legalization also reduces adults' freedom of choices, but other harmful products like heroin, cocaine, they've also been banned before, and we've seen that banning other harmful products also leads to a reduction in the use of harmful products. So reducing such by banning e-cigarettes too, we can also expect that such products will also see a reduction in the use.
The last thing was our opposing team would say e-cigarettes help reduce the traditional use for cigarette use. But the evidence we have for this is showing that vaping shows that it's not reliable for young people. It leads to smoking cessation. Many users end up willing using both cigarettes and e-cigarettes, keeping addiction alive rather than eliminating it. That was it.
Anything else you'd like to add? No? Round of applause for rebuttals, please. Okay, rebuttals have a seat. Now it's time for cross-examination or open floor questions. So you have the opportunity to question the opposing team. You have the opportunity to question the opposing team. Cross-examination, open floor questions. You have the opportunity to question the opposing team. When Malaysia gets back. There's a line. Are you okay, are we ready for cross-examination and open floor questions?
Yes.
Yes, let's begin with the affirmative team. Go ahead and ask your questions. You may begin.
Based on the controversy of you saying that your people don't know how to dispose of waste and are just polluting the area, if anything, that doesn't question the legality of what cigarettes are, but instead that's just a huge problem, as when you read by e-cigarette, you were informed of that. And my question for you is that how is the legality of the e-cigarettes affected by own user errors?
The legality issue is mainly brought up by the fact that if we legalize e-cigarettes and we allow them to just be, just be produced in mass, the more people are going to want them, the more trash it's going to lead to, and the more pollution it's going to lead to. Especially with the fact that lithium batteries are usually found within vaping devices, which leads to even more toxic chemicals being put into the environment.
Okay, so, wait, repeat what you said again?
I was mainly saying that if we allow the legalization of e-cigarettes to be mass-produced and legalized, it's going to lead to much more e-cigarettes being put in the environment, which also allows the lithium batteries within those devices to pollute our environment even more with the toxic chemicals being made by them. Especially when it comes to the rust of it and the chemicals we can find in lithium batteries, that leads to a lot of, honestly, just toxic ooze being brought into the environment. And even in forests and playgrounds where people and children can be found, you can find them almost scattered anywhere. Using California as a base example, this problem is just in mass, not only by our very vibrant homeless problem, it's also brought about by our littering problem, which is honestly a very big factor into my research.
Okay, well, what you said, if e-cigarettes were legalized, I think it's already legalized, and we don't see a very massive what you're saying. Also considering that you're saying they're mass production, so far FDA has only approved about 34 e-cigarettes, so everything else you see again is part of the black market, which if you're to unlegalize it, that would just grow the black market even more, leading to even more easier consumption. And about your thing with lithium batteries, lithium batteries are used in a lot of things, they're even used in cars. Thing about that, that's considered e-waste. In order to dispose of that, you put sulfuric acid in order to decompose it completely. So again, that's also a user problem, not properly dispose of e-waste. And then you were mentioning what else about it?
I was mentioning that the mass production of it, like the pollution made by the production or by the factories, is a very big emitter of greenhouse gases.
Okay, so for that, when it comes to e-cigarettes, the reason why it's more eco-friendly than it is for regular cigarettes, even though I will admit making one does obviously create pollution, but so does regular cigarettes, and the lifespan of a regular e-cigarette will outweigh, it will like basically substitute the difference between the actual air polluted and it creating one. As for regular cigarettes, when you make them, they're gone within about a month, saying that there are only 12 type of e-cigarettes are constantly reusable and have a lifespan of about 1 to 2 years depending on use.
I can agree with that, but your usage ideal also involves the personal usage that you brought up. When you stated that the fact that people don't know how to throw them out is a user-friendly problem, or it's a user problem, also the lifespan of it also depends on the user, and it depends very violently on who is actually being used by. When we look at e-cigarettes, they're mainly used by young people. Young people are honestly, when it comes to different substances, they're not extremely smart with them. We can all understand that. And this leads to an inability to understand basic understandings that almost everyone should know, including how to easily throw out electronics. And honestly, even with other electronics like computers, phones, not many young people know how to actually dispose of them properly. And this leads to much more garbage being found. This leads to much more electronic garbage being found in places where it shouldn't be found. And it leads to even deadly, deadly experiences in the past. When I've done personal research on phone usage, and I found that when disposed of improperly, they've even exploded in certain cases, leading to damages within people. It's just honestly just really terrible. And with my mass production claim that due to the fact that these e-cigarettes are being targeted to young people, e-cigarettes are targeted to young people, and young people will take them in mass. I mean, I've personally seen a lot of my own peers use them quite frequently, to the point where they're using one once every week. Not my own peers in the school per se, but I have seen like teenagers my age using them at that mass. And on top of that, as much as cigarettes provide a lot of waste, I'm not going to say that they don't, I'd like to provide the fact that as much as cigarettes are very wasteful, the most waste that they're going to bring is the bud. The bud is a terrible part made of something that isn't even like it's not biodegradable at all. But a metal frame with an oil inside, be it cannabis, be it nicotine, that is 100% going to be worse for the environment than a small bud. Both are terrible, but one is obviously much worse. And personally, I'd like to add to one of the points one of my peers have stated. With the flavors, it's obviously going to be a teenager, very centric based thing. Real quick, I'm not talking too much, am I?
Oh yeah, you kind of are. You kind of are.
My apologies.
Okay, well, doing about your opinion on waste again, that counts as e-waste, so it will be thrown in hydrochloric acid and completely dispersed of meaning that the product will be considered. You about saying that how it's advertised to young people, again, with these regulations, within California alone, 34 have been regulated, meaning all the other ones are put up the black market. So that's also going to be a huge problem. And if you were to delegalize it, then that would increase it probably even more, considering that FDA also gets thousands and thousands of requesting other ones. They really crack down on when it comes to youth usage and youth appeal. So that's when both flavors that you find that are legalized are actually like really, how to put it, they're like bitter. They're like a taste that wouldn't want to have youth appeal to it. And then you were also saying what else?
I was talking about the mass production of it, and I was talking about, what else was I talking about? I was talking about, well, you already said it, but I was talking about how the metal frame isn't as biodegradable as a cigarette butt. That's all I can remember, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Do you got anything?
I have a question real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Earlier, one of your points was saying that in order to
That's
like,
2 minutes left. Put it in here.
you were saying that compared to like other hard drugs like what was it, heroin and cocaine, that when you were seen to be illegalizing it, it reduced the, or even like got rid of the use completely. But that doesn't really kind of compare, considering the fact that e-cigarettes are either used for substitution for nicotine or are used for